There's an old Chinese proverb that you may have heard at one stage or another in your life. Quite a cliche, but I like its message. And it essentially says that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. And I think what this quote is trying to teach us, at least past the surface level, because we can kind of assume what this quote is trying to say. It's basically saying, start today, stop wasting time. Yes, perhaps 20 years ago, if you had started that business or that dream project or started learning that skill, you might have been further along. That is the truth of it. But ultimately, if we keep on waiting for the perfect moment to start the thing that we want to do the most, that thing will never happen. And so you may as well get going today before you waste any more time on living the dream life that you want to live. So that's kind of like the surface level of this quote. But I think that there's an even deeper and more profound lesson to be learned from this Chinese saying. And what I think it's really trying to teach us is the value of not listening to our minds, to not listen to our thoughts as though they were truth every single time. Yes, the mind has incredible insights. I'm sure you've often had shower thoughts or late night thoughts where you just had these brilliant epiphanies of, oh wow, I should start that business. I should take a chance on this venture. I should visit this country, right? And you thought to yourself, damn, I'm a genius. Because yes, indeed, you are a genius. Congratulations. But in the same breath of giving the mind credit where credit is due, I think there's a very big danger in consistently believing in it without question. Because as I'm sure you've experienced in your life, there are moments where your mind will tell you things like you're not good enough. Your mind will tell you that you shouldn't approach that pretty girl at the cafe because she's going to reject you. Your mind told you that you shouldn't become a singer. You're tone deaf. Your family keeps telling you to shut up. And if that's the truth, then maybe you should listen to your family, considering there is a possibility of being tone deaf. But hey, pursue your dreams. Who am I to stop you? But jokes aside, your mind will tell you things to frighten you and to prevent you from taking action, which ultimately will allow you to get on the path to whatever desired outcome you have for yourself. And if you allow your mind to keep on frightening you and to keep on disheartening you and to keep on preventing you from taking the smallest action possible, because that's all it really requires. It really doesn't require this Herculean effort that I think we all believe we need to do. And I'll prove that to you in a moment. But I think a valuable first step is realizing that we need to stop listening to the thoughts in our head, at least as much as we often tend to do so. When we go back to the quote that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, I relate to this in the fact that I will often look back on a dream that I had. So when I was younger, I always had the dream of being a musician, to be a singer. And at the time I thought, wow, I've got all the time in the world, I'm young. I've got 20 years ahead of me to explore this music career. I'm talented, somebody will discover me at some stage. It'll happen for me. And then 20 years goes by and you realize, oh, I kind of believed these ambitious thoughts that I would just somehow make it, that I would somehow attain this dream for myself. Same thing with YouTube. I start a YouTube channel and think, well, of course it'll be successful eventually, It has to eventually take off. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll record my first video tomorrow. And so again, these thoughts don't have to be negative. Like we said, the thoughts could be saying to you, you're not good enough to start a YouTube channel. You're not good enough to chase that dream. Who do you think you are? Or on the paradoxical end, your thoughts could be saying, you're more than good enough to do this thing. Therefore, you don't need to rush right now. There's no rush on this dream. You can take your time. It'll happen for you, bro. Don't worry. And I'm sure you can see where the danger lies in both of these thought patterns, both negative and positive, because whether you believe that you are destined to fail or destined to succeed prevents you from doing the one thing that you should be doing in order to confirm that success, to make sure you succeed, and that is to take action. But as I said, going back to this quote, and I'm sure you can relate that, the reason why a lot of us don't start the thing and don't take consistent action is because we truly believe that I should have done this thing 20 years ago. I should have started. It's too late for me. That's a big objection that I've always had in my own life to starting a YouTube channel, to doing music. I'm 30 years old now. And you think to yourself, I'm a bali, Who am I to start a music career now? Who am I to start a YouTube channel? It's over for me. I'm cooked, as the kids would say. But it's this exact mind phantom that keeps me stuck, and perhaps keeps you stuck in your own life with your own goals. Because the truth is, we all wait for motivation. We all wait for the right conditions of our mind to be just in order, to have that motivation, to continuously do that hard work, that self-belief that every YouTuber teaches you to develop in yourself. You just need to believe in yourself, bro. Confidence is the key. What if we didn't need any of that? What if the motivation and the confidence that we're so desperately trying to achieve is a fluctuating emotion, an appearing thought that comes and goes? One day, you're confident, you feel great, you feel on top of the world. And then the next day, your mind kicks back in. Who do you think you are? You're a failure. Stop trying. Give up. And if we continue to wait for the conditions of the mind and the heart and the soul to be aligned before we can take action, we'll be waiting forever. And the dream that you have will never see the light of day and will quite literally be taken with you to your graveyard. Sorry to get so nihilistic this early in the morning. Anyways, what do we do about this problem? How do we overcome this and make sure that we take action towards the things that we want? It's actually a lot simpler than it at first appears to be. As I mentioned, most of us wait for motivation to start taking action. But again, what if we don't need the motivation? What if we just need to bypass the thoughts and the feelings altogether and then just simply do the very next thing that we need to do in order to take a step towards that goal? Because the truth is that action does not come as a result of motivation. It can, and oftentimes does. But what if we could reverse that process and start with the action first, which would then give us motivation, and then continue to give us a bit more action potential, and then motivation, and the circle continues. I'm sure you've had experiences in your life where you didn't feel like going to the gym, or you didn't feel like doing that work that you needed to do, but you thought, you know what, I'll just do 5 minutes. I'll just start and see what happens. Somehow you convince yourself to just take the next smallest step. And suddenly 2 hours went by, maybe a couple more hours went by, and the task or the gym session or the awkward interview that you had to do just flew by, right? Flow state. You've been there before? That is the power of taking the very smallest action possible and trusting in your own potential to take over. Because what you do in that moment is you basically tell your mind, or you allow your mind to shut off. You stop listening to the negative self-limiting beliefs and thoughts. You stop listening to that fear and that anxiety, and you simply did the very smallest thing that you felt capable of doing. And paradoxically, it's in doing that first small step that allowed everything else just to take care of itself. Because as cliche as it sounds, it is so true that starting is often half the battle. So my friends, start today. Don't wait. Don't let these mind phantoms prevent you from chasing the dreams that you want to achieve. Take action. And don't worry about taking 5 hours worth of action today. Start small. Pick the very smallest thing that you can do and plant that seed today, so that when the next 20 years comes, you can sit there proudly and say, I am so glad that I planted that seed 20 years ago, because now I can reap the benefits and the rewards of that dream coming true. I believe in you, friends. Take that small action right now.